Imagine you're this guy, and despite living a comfortable life, something just feels off. You did absolutely everything by the book. You studied hard in school so you could go to a good college. You make good money working a respectable career. You drive a nice car and even come home to a loving family every night. But despite all this, something still feels off. Maybe it's the well paying career that demands more and more of your time. Maybe it's the nice car and its remaining 59 payments. Or maybe it's the latest Facebook post from your friend showing off how much better their house is than yours. We could take time to analyze the deeper meaning of why we feel this way, or we could do the exact opposite and drown our voices with Netflix and bourbon. I'm feeling option B. As the minutes tick by and turn into hours, nothing has changed, except for the addition of alcohol-infused nausea and getting irrationally angry with streaming services constantly raising their prices. Now, once again, we could take the time to analyze the deeper meaning of why we feel this way. Or we could scroll through Amazon and purchase more crap we don't need in hopes that we'll feel better. 2 days pass, the package arrives, and as you walk it to the counter, you try to remember just what the heck did you order. Congratulations, you're the proud new owner of another widget. I can't be the only one who has felt this way, and chances are this has happened to plenty of you. From an early age, you've been conditioned to treat life like a checklist. From ages 5 to 17, you're forced to sit in a classroom, study, get good grades, and get into a good college. From ages 18 to 22, you're forced to sit in a classroom, study, get good grades, and get a good job. And from ages 23 to 65, you're forced to sit behind a desk, work, get good results, and start a family. This rinse and repeat approach to life has taken the wind out of your sails, and you're left with no other option but to break out the credit card and attempt to spend your way back into happiness. What went wrong? You did everything the world told you to do, and yet you're still not happy. A huge reason we feel this way is because somewhere along the way, we lost perspective with the things that truly matter to us. When you were younger, life was simpler and everything felt new. The problem is, the more exposure you get to the world and its complexities, the more clutter you will accumulate. Eventually, we reach a point where the physical and mental clutter in our lives consumes us to the point where our minds, out of pure self-preservation, begins to shut down all the non-essentials and only focuses on the things it feels you need to survive. So instead of seeing the world in vibrant color, you begin to see the world in shades of gray. Now, this isn't true all of the time, obviously. Occasionally, we'll find those bright spots in our day which allows color to peek back through. This is how destructive behaviors originate. When our lives are lacking color, we seek it by chasing dopamine. This is why it feels good to spend money on something new or to watch something on our phones that makes us smile. The problem with these dopamine highs is that they are so powerful that they lose their effectiveness quickly and we're left chasing it around in circles all day long. This is the destructive pattern that seems impossible to escape, but it can be done. It all starts with first taking inventory of what you already have. Instead of chasing that shiny new thing to buy, you should take the time to make note of your surroundings and inventory your life. This can be a mental exercise, but I recommend doing it on paper so that you can physically see just how much you already have. Start by picking a section of a room and write out everything you see. Eventually, you can expand to the rest of your home, and ultimately, your aim is to inventory your personal life. This includes things like your career, family, and personal relationships. Now, this step is critical because it's going to act as the foundation of what comes next. The world is a noisy place, and it's only going to get louder as technology continues to advance. Learning how to tune out all of this noise is your next big obstacle, and the best way to do this is to find your greater purpose and focus on it. It's not lost on me that this sounds all kinds of get in touch with your inner self, but that's not what this is. Think about it like this. Let's say you decide to buy a new car. This is a big purchase, so you do your research, shop around, spend weeks looking for the best deal, then finally, after agonizing over this whole process for what seems like an eternity, the car is finally yours. During the entire process leading up to the purchase, whether you realize it or not, the world got a lot less noisy. You were so hyper-focused on the task at hand that nothing else could break through and push you off your path to purchasing that new car. If you could take that same focus and put it towards a worthy cause in your life, the same noise reduction will happen. Actually, it's better than that because the noise reduction will be longer lasting because you're working towards a goal that requires a considerable effort when compared to a singular purchase. A common mistake made here is thinking that your purpose in life has to be some grandiose idea in nature. No, not at all. Not everyone has the desire to start a company and make millions of dollars. It's possible that you actually enjoy the work that you do, but the people you work with are bringing you down, which in turn makes you hate going to work. Your goal might be to do good work and to provide for your family. There's nothing wrong with that. But what if you're like most people? You hate your life and you hate your job. What if you have no idea what your purpose in life is? Well, then this is where your list from earlier comes in handy. It doesn't matter how much or how little money we have. we tend to fill our lives with the things that bring us joy, or we at least have some kind of interest in. Find the pattern in that list and think on it. Recently I was trying to figure out my own purpose in life and how it relates to this YouTube channel. I spent weeks trying to work it out until one day I went for a walk and came across a self-help YouTuber discussing his journey. Now that one walk solidified in my mind what I needed to do and what kind of content I should make. You might find out for yourself that buried deep in your subconscious is a desire that you've long forgotten about. Those ideas have been there all along. They've just been buried under the noise of life. When bills and obligations pile up, it's easy to miss what our minds are trying to tell us. Now, once you found your purpose, it's time to get to work. Steadily working towards something that we care about is like unlocking the cheat code to life. Prior to this, you were unconsciously reacting to life. Things would happen, then you would respond in turn. Rinse and repeat on autopilot with no end in sight. The moment you put intentionality behind your actions is the moment your purpose begins to drive your decisions. If you're working towards your goal of building that business on the side, suddenly getting drunk and binging TV becomes less of a priority. The destructive behaviors you used to indulge in become an obstacle in your way, so you move them aside. When friends ask you to come out and party, it becomes much easier to say, no thanks, I'm gonna stay in tonight. When your coworker pulls up in their fancy new car, you no longer get jealous of their purchase. See that? Made out of pure tornadoes. You check it out, wish them well on their new purchase, then move on. Content with your old car. It works fine, it gets the job done, and you're not stressing about where to park it for fear of someone scratching the paint. Working towards your goals frames your entire life. You will look at every potential decision as either a hindrance towards your objective or a tool that you can use for later. Even working jobs we hate can have an upside. Often the things we hate doing the most can lead to the biggest revelations. The language we use defines our feelings towards something. When you buy that new widget from Amazon and you say, I like it, I just wish it did this better. You are acknowledging that something needs improving and that there is potentially a market for an improved version of this widget. Again, not everyone has a desire to start a business. That's fine. If you see a process or a tool at your job that could be improved, why couldn't you be the one to fix it and profit from it down the road? Now, don't get me wrong, not all profit is money. Sometimes we can profit from our efforts by gaining more respect and leadership within our organization. No matter what you decide to work towards, make sure it's something that truly drives you forward. Because inevitably, no matter how much enthusiasm we start with, we all reach roadblocks that slow down our progress and hurt our morale. This is where your center point is going to come into play. Your center point needs to be something that has deep personal connections for you and aligns with your purpose. For some people, this could be writing down their goals and reaffirming to themselves daily. For others, it could be like a physical object, something they interact with daily and reminds them of why they started this in the first place. For me, I love cars. I love anything mechanical, especially if it has an engine. I used to obsess over all the cool and expensive cars that I could hopefully one day buy. And at one point, I was actually making enough money to where I made that dream a reality. I was doing contract work and I bought a fleet of motorcycles. Anything I wanted, I bought and just filled the garage up with it. I even bought the car of my dreams, one that I had lusted after as a teenager. But after I had all these things, I realized that I still wasn't happy. I had spent my whole life chasing after these cars and motorcycles, and now that I had it, there was just nothing more to work towards. I realized that using my desire to chase after more and cooler cars and motorcycles, that just wasn't a strong enough center point. And if your center point isn't strong enough, then everything else is out of alignment. After a ton of soul searching, some time to myself, and even a little bit of prayer, I found what I was missing. My family is the reason for everything that I do. I want to provide for them. I want them to be proud of me. I want my wife to look at me and know that I work every day with the singular purpose of being the best man I can be for her. I want my kids to grow up saying that the strongest, toughest, most realist person they've ever met is their daddy. Your purpose, if it's strong enough, can drive you to push forward even when things get hard. When friends and family try to push you one way, you can plant your feet and say no. When bills are piling up and you don't know how you're going to get out of this hole, your center point can clear the fog and provide clarity in what you need to do next. No matter how good or bad our lives may seem to each other, everyone has their own battles to contend with. Oftentimes, some of the hardest battles are the ones fought silently within our minds. It doesn't matter if you grew up rich or poor. We all make choices that define what path we should take. If you don't know where you want to end up in life, the world is going to decide for you. It's time to make a choice.